What's up, all? It's Jacob here with AllDriveNoDrop talking about the 6.0 14mm Ruby. I know a lot of people have been looking forward to this one, and let me tell you right now, 6.0 did not disappoint. I really enjoyed this paddle. It performed very well for me on the court. If you were really wanting the Kevlar paddle and the 16mm Ruby was just a little bit too heavy or a little too high swing weight for you, this one, they kept the swing weight low, they kept the twist weight high for a hybrid, and it gets a little bit more pop. Everything that I was not exactly pleased with the 16mm version has been kind of fixed with the 14mm version. That's just the play style I prefer, and I've really enjoyed playing with this. This is going to be the same price, $180 after code AllDriveNoDrop, and then we also do have a giveaway going on, so stick around for the details on that. But if you want to save yourself some time, just go smash that subscribe right now because that's part of it. So let's jump into the specs and get my gameplay thoughts and tell you how this performed on the court. So the 6.0 Ruby 14mm is a thermoformed unibody with perimeter edge foam, classic Gen 2 construction, and it is a hybrid shape. It has the classic 6.0 hybrid shape where it's 16.3 inches long, and then it gets wider towards the top, which still goes from 7.5 to 7.7 inches. 14mm core, handle length of 5.5 inches. It's more like a 5.3-ish inches, but they list at 5.5. And then we have it at 8.2 ounces, grip circumference of 4.25. Mine measured in a swing weight of 112 and a twist weight of 6.53. Okay, so the Ruby 14mm is more of an offensive paddle than the 16mm because it has a lower swing weight, which makes your hands more maneuverable, which makes you could generate more pop. So for me, that is what I prefer. I have fast hands. I like to go after paddles that increase my strength generally. So I really enjoyed this with this 14mm and in the Kevlar. It's not as soft and muted as the 16mm, but it's still softer and less feedback than you would get from a carbon fiber 14mm, say like the Mach 2 Forza 14mm, something like that. So if you like that feeling of the 16mm Ruby, but you were like, ah man, it's too heavy for me to swing, it's not going to be as soft, but it is like kind of in between the two of carbon fiber 14mm and then the 16mm Kevlar Ruby. So with all that said, it performs very well. You get great spin, still getting, you know, towards the elite end of spin, and you're still getting pretty decent power. My serve drives, maybe just a, you know, it's gonna be not as much as a 16mm, but I was still finishing points with my overheads. Roll volleys felt great because, you know, roll volleys, it's kind of like in between the pop and the power depending on how big of a swing you're taking. So sometimes it's helping, sometimes maybe you're not hitting as far. And then if like dinking, no problem. It's not popping it up. It's more of like a pop. You're getting a little bit of pop, extra pop from that thinner core, but then you're getting a little bit more pop from that lower swing weight. So no problems popping up the ball. The twist weight a little bit lower than the 16mm, but the sweet spot felt really good on this. Honestly, not too much of a drop off, and I didn't have any issues with it twisting in my hand. I tried it with a little bit of lead tape at 4 and 8 o'clock, 3 grams. I didn't like it. I think that it plays really well stock because this is a really great combination of swing weight, twist weight in a hybrid shape. I didn't want to change it. It just wasn't feeling as good as the stock, so I really like the stock version. Drops felt pretty good on this. Some people like the 14mm. It seems to, for drives and drops, it seems like you can keep the ball lower a little easier. I found that to play very true with this paddle. It was very easy to keep my drives low, keep my drop where I wanted them, and so I didn't really have any issues with control, and resetting and blocking felt very smooth. It's not as good as the 16mm, but it's close enough where I get the extra maneuverability advantage. I'm happy with the trade-off that you get on the 14mm. I really enjoyed it. I think this paddle excels at getting you to the net, getting you into those hands battles, and it doesn't take away your drives and your drops that you had super smooth ones with the 16mm. So I think if you were wanting to keep the great qualities that the 60mm Ruby had, and you're looking to gain that extra pop, the extra maneuverability, this is going to be a great fit for you. So let's talk real quick about the 14mm versus the 16mm Ruby. They list the average swing weights on the site as 112 for the 14 and 115 for the 16. My 16 came in at 118, and I know a lot of people had a higher swing weight on theirs, so I think 115 might be on the bottom end of the range, where 112 maybe is actually the average for their 14mm. So keep in mind that that difference might actually be a little bit larger in actuality. And then the twist weights, my twist weight did come in a little higher than the 6.5. And then I also got a 6.82 twist weight on my 60mm Ruby. So the power is gonna drop off a little bit on the 14mm, but not as much as I thought it would. I was still finishing points pretty easily. It wasn't an issue for me. And then you get a lot more pop on this paddle. Just how maneuverable it is allows you to generate a little bit more pop than the 16mm, and I'm happy with the trade-off because pop is something that you can't really add to the paddle, but you can add power through adding weight. So I prefer to start off with a little bit more pop because then I can adjust by adding weight to get more power if that's the trade-off I want to make. So overall, there's your breakdown. Still got one thing I didn't list on here is I did get 2232 RPMs for the 14mm, so slightly lower than the 16mm, which I got 2250, but on the court you're not going to notice a difference. Both get great spin. That's all my thoughts on it. Do I recommend the 60 Ruby 14mm? I do. I've really enjoyed it. With the price point being 180, I know it's, you know, now it kind of seems like it's on the mid-range because you got the Paddleteks over 200, you got the Joolas, the Gearboxes, the Protons. Proton? Are they allowed to sell paddles anymore? Anyway, you got a lot of other stuff over 200. And 180, it's definitely a higher price point. You know, there's a lot of good stuff under 150. I have a great video on that if you want to check it out. But anyway, this is a really good paddle. So I think only 11624 has a 14mm in Kevlar, and that's an elongated. So, and a lot of people are looking for either a hybrid or wide body in Kevlar. So this fits the bill that isn't really being offered, and I think it performs really well. I have no issue taking this to a tournament. I think I'd perform very well with it. So if you're looking for that 60 Ruby 14mm because you wanted that lower swing weight, you wanted a little bit more pop, it's not sacrificing too much power, and you can still modify this how you want, adding weight if you feel like it, you want to sacrifice a little bit of pop to get more power, then go ahead. I really enjoyed this. It feels super well built, super well constructed, feels great in the hands. So I recommend it to you if you want it for those reasons. It's a great paddle. And if you wanted to enter the giveaway, follow the instructions on the screen. And please drop any comments on what you've been playing with or what interests you about the 60 Ruby 14mm. And as always, please like and subscribe. It really helps me grow the channel. I appreciate all the support you guys have given me. And then, you know what? Go play some pickleball today and enjoy it. Thank you.